Okay, Jordan Scoble coming at you here. I don't know if this is really a STEM lab note, but this is more towards the general I.M.A programs that I've been working on. Alright, so I had to go to probation today. Pretty straightforward. What you've been doing, who you've been hanging out with, just kind of the common rigmarole of it all. I still don't have my paperwork in there yet. I don't know what the deal with that is. On one side of it, I'm happy that, it gives you the illusion, oh, well, you might be not on it, but the reality is they come up to your house any day because I've already started this from the day I got out and all that jive, but not really probation's fault, I guess, on this one, but I got to be in there, so I can be in it and fully rolling on what's going on. But, the job hunt's been the common thing because, there's a lot of reasons you can fail. But for failing for not having a job is a pretty piss poor reason to get locked back up in jail. And there's a lot of loopholes. You could be in school and do all that stuff, but I need the pay, not the grades. I do pretty well with whatever formal education I have and private study that I come out with, but I don't really want to talk about that. I did go through a few things out there. Indeed.com is a good platform. We're going to be using a system like that for the I.M.A program concept. Because on the backbone for it, I went to those workforces up there, that workforce up there in Delhi, and I know they got one out there in Sydney, and they probably have one out there in Binghamton as well, which is kind of an all-around hat hub. They all have everything. Even in Delhi there, they pointed me to stuff in Sydney, and I'm sure the one in Binghamton is going to have a lot of stuff, but more centralized around Binghamton area, which I'm not really so kosher about, but if it comes down to it, not a lot I can do about it. But with that, I went through the initial forms and everything with it, and it's just not what it should be. You wind up just filling out the same thing 20 different times. It's nice that they have applications out there, but you would think that they would have a better format for it, or at least a computer base for it instead of actual physical paperwork files to work this through. I don't know if it's just theirs or if it's the format in general. I'm sure that using a system like that gives you a percentageable advantage, that here's a person trying to get you into those companies, so when you do apply to somebody like that, the state references that you would have the need more than somebody else, probably because you were on probation or something like that, and you just go back in. But on the turn of that, why hire somebody like that if you have a handful of people that come into a place not on probation? A lot of problems with that. And then again, this goes to the whole state or county referencing for the I.M.A program, and why having to travel through a lot of these places that a simple web page design could knock out for you of just your general resume. Later today I will be doing a video resume system, but I don't really want to integrate that quite yet. Later on with a written resume, if you could apply onto, just with a simple video camera, or even something like this where you could download it from YouTube or something like that. I imagine most people have it, or even a computer in a library would have a camera system for it, or even a town hall, like Hancock Village, whatever town, something along those lines, where you go in and, on a computer fill out this information for local regions and things like that to oversee a lot of this. Again, it's just even the general application didn't ask for a full work history, and their resume system was a far cry from anything that was sensible. Now, again, you should know something about me. I had a 365-page resume, and obviously you're not going to want all that material. But again, I think at least a full work history, you'd think something like 20 jobs or something like that is a lot, and it's really not. Especially when the format is understood to be what it is, first to last with a full work history, start where you were. Because even if you don't have one, you can just keep adding formats into a printed out resume system, and then you can just kind of scan through it, skip the country store, the McDonald's, and I want the labor aspects of it, with a key base on top of, skills, job description, of what your common aspect is, which is a lot of it. But again, I think the format is all wrong. Again, it should be computer. They have the computers. They're going through Indeed.com. It was the first thing they told me to go through, but I already had one knocked out. And, so again, that would have been the first step of it. And then they handed me off with a bunch of like regular format, a couple of pagers, which asks for like, 3 or 4, which is your standard application, on top of the junk that they give you, which is just check, are you on social, whatever, aid, what's your driver's license status, which all that could be done in the general page of a resume that something like a workforce could just easily type out, if not all resumes or applications already have. But again, the point here should be to reference a full work history and be able to do something like, all right, for this specific job on this internet thing, I can just look at my resume, go click add to the reference sheet of jobs and duties that you did, not necessarily that the order. It needs to be specific because, when you're asking at that level, how long you've been there is what you need to know, not necessarily from years to month. It's just, it takes up time on that application. Most people don't know it and don't write it down. We're dealing with a concept that most people don't have this reference system. And again, is it really practical? Well, we just want experience, not necessarily the time you served there. It does add to a thing, but it's the difference of 3 seconds and 3 minutes. You can, when you're doing inventory of how many staples you use, 3 minutes to 3 hours, a board may not come out to, a machine may drop. So when you do those numbers by that system as a manager looking at somebody, well, they do 3, I use 3 staples here, and that goes into a 5-minute system. Well, by that mechanical process, I should be able to check my inventory, know how much product is made in a certain time, and it really doesn't work that way. But again, just the, being able to click 1, click 2, and in the order in which you click the add of your total work history, because I want you to add that. If you're going to take the time to come to a place like this, you shouldn't just add a common aspect of a resume, because a lot of times you have to shift this, and it's really hard to do on paper one. A lot of times you'd be looking at this to say, well, what you don't have. A lot of people that come in here don't have computer access, never did, and or don't know how to do it, don't know how to format it. And again, it's not that the guy didn't help me. Here's the paperwork, there's this, that, or the other. I'll help you find this job over here. There's this place that's hiring. I'll check. I could have done all that myself. And I'm sure the more importantly than that aspect of the job, it's going to be more like, I'm this guy. I gave him a quick look over. You might want to take a look at him or something like that. That credential or that authority that comes with it's going to be worth the thing. And you could easily find it from that format system of just helping them design what that looks like. You don't need to micromanage their skills and their duties of a job. You let them fill that out. And you're not trying to bump it up for them. It's not kind of what happened. You just let them fill out their own thing. But the reality is that a lot of this, you have to be able to do that. So once you have that general thing, you can kind of look it over, read it once, and then go, well, you want to take this out, add this in there, let them correct it on their own, or even be able to correct that for them. So that way they know not only for this event, but later in life when it comes up, this is kind of what you would want to do. You already have this format done, workforce.com. The I.M.A program for your general region or regions of mileage or 50 miles or an hour travel time, because Google Map has a lot of that stuff. This is a state and federal based program, I would imagine. Just there can be some improvements made. This is something I've been working on for a while, if you know me about the I.M.A program and things like that. So I wanted to put this in there, seeing that I did walk the walk with it. Again, those hubs would be centralized in positions, that we don't necessarily need them in a workforce base. It's nice when you have those. That's where it is. It's built in Delhi, so I'm not going to use the Delhi Town Hall, something like that. But places like Hancock, here's the, you live in Hancock from your probation officer, just go to your town hall, use their computer, fill in go to the workforce.com, fill out your resume. This is where all companies must register a job position. They don't necessarily have to take you, but they have to look at these resumes, and they are stored in a warehouse. They have first come, first serve if somebody wants to come in through the door, or something like that. I am not 100% totally liking the idea of internet applications. I'm more go to a manager at the store, but a lot of finance or franchises. I know Wendy's is one, Dollar Store is one of them, Tops Market is one of them. They already use this format. Now it's just, when your bank of resumes come up, as soon as Workforce has it, they ship it off to, through a series of applications. That's where the jobs come in, whether it be physically or actual web design systems that go by key banks and whatever. To be able to transmit that information where it needs to go, that's what needs to be done here. It should take care of this a little bit better. And again, whether you're on probation or you're not on probation, it should work equally for you. Again, it's one of those things with it. I know they're backboning right now that with probation for me right now, what they're saying is, well, they know a lot of these positions, and it's one of those things that, why is it illegal to ask this question? I don't think it really disqualifies you if you're asking, are you white? What difference does that fucking make? Because even at a place like workforce.com, are you white? Are you Indian? Are you Latin American? Well, what fucking difference does that make? As long as you're an American citizen, that's what's important here. Those things shouldn't come up. In terms of your social security number, I know they use it for background checks, but it's one of those things I've never been real comfortable, even to a place like McDonald's or something like that, because you are handing that off to a manager that I have to trust with a lot of information, driver's license number, social security numbers. That gets in trouble. You get, a little bit of extra information on the other end, and that's not really necessary until I can trust you at that job, until I can say things later on. Just me personally, I don't do that with a name and a bank. Here's your, at, at that website level where they could block it out for later. They already have that. They've run the background check for you in case you didn't want to say you were on probation, or in case you didn't want to say you had certain felonies or something like that. Where it would come up, it would did you answer all these questions honestly? The algorithm runs whatever it needs to run for you. It shouldn't be that expensive. We're not talking about a huge number of job percentages or cutting job percentages. You're still going to need to have people actually physically helping you do this stuff. I don't know what their job is there. Again, to help you read out the application for what it is, or I asked a few general questions that I've never seen on an application before, like issuing whatever for your high school, and it was like, actually, do you have any college experience, is what it actually amounted to, or some things for some basic driver's license things. Does this mean CDL, is what that was, and yeah, that's what that means. Oh well, I don't have that then. Not much I can do. And hey, but again, this could be way better managed, whether it be a printout that you have to mail in, or, that you could hold into a system like that, where it's just, once you get through the basic information, the printout for, job information and in a general page system, you just flick through it. If somebody wants to go gung-ho and write a whole page for job duties, or lay it out, I walked in the day, clocked in, and write it all out. They do reference different skills. Sometimes you need that for, I need intelligence summaries, or things like that. So you have to generalize what that form looks like and determine, with some bullet point skill sets, for a lot of the jobs, what I basically, you told me in 5 minutes, you're not going to want to do, I've been here, clock in this time and do real super anal. Just give them your skills. CNC machine, gantry saws, as many as you can in order, time charts, hand tools, landscaping, for the certain job that you have. That form is for you. You could even just do some general resumes for operating, landscaping, some big ones. I know I have a lot of operating machinery. It'll be coming up in later videos that I do, dock experience, just because I have that many docks under me. Operating, which I might touch into or cover on that aspect because it's a very specific resume, customer service, country store, Hancock House, McDonald's, things like that. And you can get creative with it. But what those should generally look like, maybe even a couple models of what that is, that should be the job. But once those are done, it's pretty much done. You might want to revamp it every once in a while, but every job comes through this place first. You put your name in there when you have somebody, if you're part of New York State, period. Catch you on the next one.